All right, what is up, everybody? Happy New Year to you all, 2022. All right, we made it this far. So, hoping the internet holds out today. It's been very peculiar the past couple of days, but I'm hoping it hangs in there and we can get some fun going here. Working on a new studio setup this year, so I haven't got it up and running yet, but that's part of the working on it. Make this a little better, but I think this will do us now for today, right? I just need to pull up a few things here. My own treasury, Happy New Year to you. How are you doing? How was your holidays? I'm happy to say that I got enough internet streaming right now, enough bandwidth to get this hopefully coming to you okay. Let me know if it doesn't. All right. And before I go any further, I need to just pull up a few things here because I just remembered that I've got this going on YouTube today as well, I believe, hopefully. So let me pull up the chat for that. Try not to miss anybody. All right, good. I think we got that there. All right, there we go. So this is the weekend. So we are gonna have a look at this. This was something that I started sketching an idea out. Gosh, November, something like that. Didn't get very far with it, and in fact, it looks like when I left it, it had some errors. Uh, the idea here is this is a little app for me. It's kind of the next iteration of an app that I use for posting my content to compileswift.com. So we'll try and get this up and running here. You still got another week of them, thankfully. For your, hope yours are doing well. Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is going good. I'm glad you got another week. I have 2 more days, and then I'm back to work. So I was really wanting to hoping to get this stream in here and kick it off there, and spent the last few days, like I always do at the end of every year, archiving things, backing them up, cleaning them out, all that kind of stuff. And I'll probably talk about that at some point in the future. But archiving, emails, refreshing everything, cleaning up databases, all that kind of fun stuff to try and make it as good as it can be to get the year started, and especially on my Mac, keep it as happy as possible. And I don't know, it archived away a couple of thousand emails that I keep separately just because you never know when you're going to need them. So all of that kind of stuff is what I've been doing. And I'm also trying to find any code that I have on my machine and get that up on the cloud because there's no reason for me to keep it on my machine anymore. So that's what I've been doing, and hopefully you've all been relaxing and having some fun. Let's have a quick look and see what this error is here because, there's a few of them. Okay. It has been so long since I looked at this that I can't even remember myself what it is. So let's have a look. Oh, maybe it's happy now. Okay. I can't even remember what this looks like at this point, to be honest. So we're going to see. I know what it's supposed to be, but we'll see. So the idea for this is, just to go over it quickly for those of you who don't know, compileswift.com is the website that I have for all of my Swift and iOS development stuff and all that kind of stuff that I put out there for you all. And it's powered on Gatsby.js. And that sits on top of React. And what builds the static Jamstack site for that is a whole bunch of Markdown files, because I can just write something in Markdown, send it up, it rebuilds the site, and life is good. So the app that I use for doing that is this one, which some of you may have seen before. This is the original version, right? Put it all in here, and then I can either preview the Markdown, like I could do, let's do some, like, hello, this is text, and then, this is a heading, right? Just some Markdown, and then preview it. And then when I'm happy with it, I go create, and I can either copy it, formats everything out, puts all the header information it needs in there to build out the post and the page on the website. And I can either save that to a file or copy it to a clipboard. And that's all well and good. And there's a whole bunch of different things you can pick and tags and everything else, it served its purpose just fine. I even have some stuff on the side here, some quick tags, so like I can do this and it'll put some stuff in just to save me some formatting every time. All well and good. But what I want to do is basically that's a single post generator, right? It makes that, it does it, it's gone. And I thought, well, you know, for the next version, I don't know what this is down here. I have to look at this. I really wanted it to be able to read back the folder of files in the repository and have them available here to either edit them, you know, or just add in new ones. So the idea here is that they can be grouped in some way. And I've got kind of this 3-pane thing going on. You see it in our apps now. It's all very common. And then there would be the list of the posts and then, of course, the post details. So that's what this is. That's where this is going, right? And again, this is just for me at this point. Let's start there. Who knows where it may go, but it loads up the content view, right? So that's all this does. So in the content view, there's 3 sections. There's the group view, the post list, and then the content view, right? It's all very straightforward. I'll get rid of some of this. So, you know, the post list is actually, let's start on one side. So we'll just get this to run it up here. So, you know, here's the list of groups, no formatting, no nothing, right? It's just straight up text right now with some extra padding up here to make this title stand out. Post list, pretty much the same deal, right? And then the detail view, which is actually this one here, has the section. Sorry, that is not the one. Post content view is the one that has all of the sections where all the content would be. This is as far as I got, right? Just sort of using Swift UI to just very quickly lay out 3 sections. Didn't even complete all the sections, but they're there. So that's what this is. I don't know what this logging stuff down here is. I don't remember seeing this before. That's I don't know if that's an Xcode 13 thing or what, but it doesn't matter. Let's just get rid of that for now. All right, so let's run this again because, like I say, I didn't get very far with this at all. Yeah, just replace it. Nothing. I can't adjust. Actually, I've noticed it every time I click, it's doing a new entry. The only thing I can do at the moment is adjust the size of the windows. Yeah, right. You know, so there's nothing great here right now. But I think what I want to do is to continue. Today I'm going to keep working on the UI stuff a little bit here and play with this and do that. Feel free to ask any questions or anything you like in the chat rooms. Always have fantastic fun in the chat room. So let's do this. And I do have this basic data model that I set up here as well, which doesn't have anything at the moment except 2 posts, right? I mean, I really got basically nowhere with this. This is just literally like, I need something to appear on the screen. That is all that is. Ain't gonna look anything like that by the time we're finished. Of that, I'm certain. And okay. So let's go back to our content view and preview it. I think what I'm going to do here is, I think if I remember rightly, I kind of had this idea of, you know, obviously I've got dark mode here because I'm running the OS in dark mode at the moment. So that's what's going on there. And I thought to myself, okay, I think, you know, I'm one of those people like very muted kind of palettes, color palettes in my apps for my own personal use, because I could be writing this in the middle of the night, probably would be writing a post in the middle of the night, and so I don't want a bright screen staring back at me, right? So I'd have my OS in dark mode, but I also think this is probably a little too dark for what I want, right? Using the default here. If I remember rightly, let me look here. Yeah, I hadn't even set up any assets in here yet, colors or anything like that. So let's start there. Let's start with a color set for, we'll call it the group list, right? So group list background, right? We're just going to call it that. And before we go any further, I'm just going to leave that white because it's been a while since I wrote code. Had holidays since then. And let's go back to our group view. So our group view background, which is actually going to be this VStack, right? So it's going to have a background, and it's going to be a color. And I don't think, I'm trying to remember. I got to give it a name. Yeah. Oops. No. Yes, I know there's a watch kit one there. I just put them all in. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to do it. But I know if Coco types watching, or when he eventually gets back to internet, he's going to say, hey, wait, I see a watch one over there. I'm going to give this a name. This group list background. Actually, I should be able to reference it by that name. Just to save me typing it, I'm just going to copy it. We'll go back over here. Let's close these out. All right. Okay, there we go. And let's get rid of this one. Okay. Trying to remember how to do this. Color by name, I think, should be in here somewhere, right? A named color. Is it a... Gotta think. Not a CG color, right? Is it? Oh, I can't believe I gotta Google this so quickly. I've already forgotten. Hang on. Let me bring over a Safari window. Just gonna find one. There we go. As soon as I see it, I know I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, it's that thing. Oh, it's a UI color. Okay. Don't remember it being that. I think it's just color now, though, isn't it? I don't think it's UI color anymore. Oops. I gotta change from my mouse. I'm so used to using a trackpad. Hang on one second. Where's my trackpad? Here it is. Plus, I hate hearing the scraping sound on the surface. There we go. And I can do my fancy gestures. Okay. I know I've done this like a million times, but I just can't remember it. Oh, you just give it a text string? Was that how I did it? Okay, well that would be super convenient. Oh, that's funny. I saw myself over here on the streaming, check the streaming, and I'm like, wait, why is it white over there? Let's take that off actually, because I'm trying to Show me the VStack. Let's do it this way. I never go through and do it this way. So, there we go. Group list background. Go over to the assets. Group list background doesn't have anything right now. So let's set some properties. I'm assuming that's just kind of the default, right? So let's go with RGB, and let's just do something. Show me the color panel. I'm going to do it that way. I'm a visual kind of guy. I want it dark, but I don't want it too... Well, actually, this is any appearance. So for any appearance, I'm going to want it to be somewhat light. The dark... Whoops. Oh, too many windows. There we go. The dark, I will want something darker, like maybe... Let's start with that. Still got it running, don't I? Yeah. All right. Let's have a look. Doesn't look to me like it changed. Oh, because I took the code off. No, wait. That's the one put in by the modifier. I'm just going to choose it. I'm going to see if it's updating the preview. Okay. All right. Maybe it just, I chose exactly the wrong color to make it look like that. Let's just go with something horrible for a second. Don't look green to me, just saying. I'm going to take it off of there because I actually think it should be on the VStack. Still doesn't look like it changed. Just saying. No. Universal devices, yeah. Appearances, any. All right, let's do 3. Any light and dark. Well, for it shouldn't matter, but no, I think any and dark should do it. Let's purposefully check the Mac box. Group list background. Da, 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 da. Oh, you know what? I know why. Because that's the WatchKit extension. Sorry. Let's get rid of that. Shared assets. Color set. Name. Group list. Background. Do this again. On the right one this time. The light, I'm going to go with something like, let's just go with that. And now, I didn't click there. There we go. And then on the dark, it will go real dark like that. Okay. Go back to our group view. I want to make sure I got the right new color. Run it again. There you go. Who knew that putting it in the right thing would make a difference? All right, so that's that one. Now, let's look at this again from a padding perspective. Just replace the running one. Yeah, okay. So, definitely want some padding on there. And then I think for the text for the groups, we're going to want to use a different style here. So, and it does. Okay, all right. We're going to go with title going to be too big. I don't think it is. By the time it's got some nice meaningful name other than groups, that'll probably be okay. This one is a little small. This will eventually, of course, be dynamically driven. And so for that one, we'll put a style in for now, but later on when we replace this with dynamically driven content, it'll be something better. Let's have a look at sub-headline. Let it differentiate between the two. No. So I guess headline is the bigger variant, right? Yeah, I think I'd still want it a bit bigger though. But I'll tell you what, let's leave it like that for now, because again, we'll come up with some universal styles for the whole app at the end of this. So all right. Now I'm noticing though, the padding is actually in the wrong place. Don't really need padding on the whole thing on the outside of the stack, right? If anything, you could argue that the padding here is fine, right? Let's group these, right? Well, actually, let's just make it a V stack for now. Just work on some of our layout a bit here. Okay, now that we've got our V stack, we can put the padding on there, and that should just bring the text in nicely from the edge. But we don't want it center aligned, right? We want it left aligned. Better. That's a bit better. Bit of a big gap here now though, because we've got double padding, right? We've got the padding on the groups and the padding on there. So we can probably afford to drop that padding off of there. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Oh, good Lord. Xcode. Now, all right, you know what? Let's do it this way. Let's put the padding on the outside. And then I can just adjust the gap in there. That's actually going to work out better. Yeah. Okay, so Actually, I don't even need to do that. I could just put, I think, a spacer of 15. Oh, sorry. I don't remember I have to put in that in there before. Actually, I think I just want the padding 15, but I'm curious now as to what that is. All right, we'll just take that off and we'll specify the padding. And we will just have on the groups, we'll just have padding on the bottom. Just go with the default for right now, see how that looks. Yeah, that's fine. You can specify a value here if you want, but I'm comfortable with that, right? Because something you also have to take into account and think about as well, which another good reason to not try and specify too many exacting requirements here is scaling, right? You may have your fonts scaled up, scaled down on a particular device. You want it to respect that and take advantage of SwiftUI doing the heavy lifting to keep everything nice for you. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So you really want to override as little as possible. You want to make an app look like you want it to look like, but you really want to do is just enough work to get what you want and then let the system take care of the rest of it, so that if someone does, accessibility, use the scaling slider for their text, it doesn't all just fall apart. Excuse me. Which you may have seen on the web. Anytime you've seen sites that use like pixel sizes or something like that, sometimes it can all just fall apart once you start messing. Your system is something other than the default, and that's one of the nice things about SwiftUI in general, is let Apple do the hard work for you, right? No point in having to make it harder on yourself. So we're going to leave that like that. Probably going to want to take this here, just pop over to the post list, and actually let's look at the group view here. Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll just take that off of there so that it matches like so. We're going to put our padding on the outside again. Take a quick look. Getting better, right? And we've got that nice differentiator between the three different columns is working out nicely as well. So that's good. Let's come up with a background color here. Again, this is probably not going to be the final asset, but it will be enough. You may recall in previous streams where I've spoken about, often I'll use a really standout kind of set of background colors so that I can see the spacing for everything. Oops, sorry, excuse me. So you can see the spacing for everything, and I can see exactly what area it's taking up. That way you can see if something overlaps or it's not quite going down the full height, things like that. Just kind of an approach that I've learned from the web over the years of, do something to show me the actual frame of the content first. I'll make it look super pretty later once I know that the layout is working, right? So on the post list, we're going to have another one here. Let's do this. And I think I should, right? I should be able to just copy and paste this. Yeah. And I'll just call this the post list background. I know, super inventive name, right? Now for this one, I'm going to change this here. Show me the color panel. I'm going to go slightly darker there. And then on the dark version, slightly darker again. Right, so we've got on the group view here, it's going to go in and stagger with those post list. There we go. Okay, so again on here, we're just going to, instead of just typing it, I'm taking advantage of using the modifier in the list just because I can go in there and pick it off there like that, right, without typing it. Okay, so there you go. Boom, boom. And then you can see the one here where we don't have any color yet. You may just be able to see, at least on my screen here, where the scroll bar would be. All right. And then finally, let's take the last one here. Take this again. We're going to go over to the post content view, which is just our temporary static post. All right. The VStack, we're going to want it off to the side, of course, here. We're going to have to add in our padding. And good there. Those are those. Oops. Dot padding. Oh, did I put it in the wrong spot. See, I'm testing you and you didn't even notice it. There you go. Padding. Come on. Okay. Now, let's have another background color here. We just call this one post background. Temporary set of colors, we'll make that slightly darker. And then on this one, I'm going to go completely black. Now, the reason being is I know on older devices, of course, black doesn't look jet black, but on the newer screens where black is truly black, it should look really nice. So that's the reason I'm putting that in there. All right. Go back up there. Again, just take advantage of our modifiers if I spell it correctly. And then we've got our post background. Run that. Hey, how is it going working on a blog app? Hey, Nicholas, hope you're feeling better. It's getting there. We're just setting up our 3 sections here is where we're at. So just putting in some very basic color sets right now to, again, just see how much space each one takes up. You can see that things are not great like that. And, you know, we got some areas to work here, right? So we're just very, you know, very early stages is where we're at with this. But the reason, you know, at this stage, even though these aren't the final color sets I'm going to use, I'm setting them up here is so that I can use them throughout, obviously, and change it in one location. It's going to update the whole app, right? It's best to start off that way early rather than putting all your colors in all your views, because then you got to go and find and strip them all out. All right, give me 1 second here. Sorry, I just got to check something on my phone. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at there. Let's go back to our group view. Now, actually, let me think about this for a second. I'm going to try it here. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I'm going to try setting the frame size here. And so that will allow me to set the things like the minimum and maximum width that things can be. So you don't end up with this, you know, like you saw here, right? So let me show you beforehand. Right, see where this groups here gets completely weird, right? If I set a frame, which I think I can probably do it on the V-stack here and it would be fine. So you'll see that you've got all of these. You don't have to use them all, right? So I could say a minimum width of, let's just pick a number, say 200, right? The ideal width, not going to bother with that. The maximum width, really don't want to mess with that yet, because the reason being is I'm thinking, I'm going to want it to be adjustable. I want you to be able to adjust it, right? So I tell you what, let's just put in maximum width of 400 for right now. Height, I'm not going to bother with, because we can adjust the overall size of the app, right? And then it's just going to fill it up right now. At least that's the theory. So all I'm going to do is set a minimum and a maximum width. And let's see what that gives us. Okay, so you can see what's coming into play here, right? The maximum width of 200 right here, and the max width of 400. Obviously, it's not what we wanted to see happen, but you can see that group list now cannot, right? We're not getting the weird behavior. Now, that said, that has answered one of my questions, which was going to be, I was wondering if I can set it here on the view, because the reason I say that, instinct sort of says, well, I could put it here. I'm just not sure that that's what I want to do for later on, right? I don't know. And the reason I say that is because I'm trying to keep as little code in here as possible. Let me think this through. If I set the maximum width here to be infinity, it's always going to be happy to go in that direction. I've still got my 200, but see how it's not filling, right? The V stack is not filling the entire frame. Does that make sense? So I'm going to leave this. Well, I want this to be a number. Let's make it 400 for now, right? But now let's go back over to our group view. So this V stack, the frame for that, I mean, if I don't think you could set the width without setting one or the other. I'm not sure. So if I put the width is infinity, in other words, fill as much space as is available. In theory, that being fill as much space as available based on the size of my parent. Does that make sense? That's how I think that should work out. But I think if I just set it like that, it might not be happy. Oh no, it is happy. I didn't think it would be. Okay. Well, but that said, it's still not doing what I want here anyway. Hang on. This is what I was looking. Okay, this is what I was waiting to see. An invalid frame dimension, negative or non-finite. Okay. I've had this happen to me before, and I got around it somehow and fixed it up properly. Gotta think about it for a second. I don't think. I think this is going to yield the same problem. If I don't set, let me think. How did I solve this? I have solved this because I solved it with the original. I did a Swift UI version of my original app that I showed you earlier, and I did solve this problem. I'm just trying to remember how I did it. should probably have the same error, right? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is this. Instead of saying that, I'm going to say, look, make the width infinity to fill the space. It's going to be happy with that because it makes sense, right? But we don't have this minimum here. So let's try this. Minimum width of 200, but a width of infinity. What did I get wrong? Oh, actually, yeah, I gotta get these in the right order. Okay. Let's have Xcode do the work for me. There we go. Okay, minimum width will be 200. I'm not going to set an ideal width. I'm going to set a max width of infinity. And then I'm going to take out all the heights and the alignments because I don't need those. Okay. Going to respect the 200. It's okay with the infinity. I'm wondering, I'm going to check something here. If I set this to 300. Okay, minimum 2, max, there you go. Okay, that's more like what I'm looking for. But we've still got this problem, right? Because the problem you've got is the group's view is not filling the frame still. Oops, sorry. Wish I could remember. I could just load up my code, but I'd have to go pull the repo to look at it. I almost feel like that's why I don't want to have this here, right? Again, keeping it simple. So there's my view, my VStack. I'm curious about something. I just gotta take that padding out there because I wonder if that's what's causing. Yeah, that's what's causing that there. Okay. So before we go any further, I'm gonna leave that padding out of there. And if I put the frame in there, so it's the same result. So I'd rather have the code in here than in my parent view and then have to manage it in there. Because these views, I want them to be independent because I may want to use that group view in some other part of the application at some point, right? So it'd be best to keep everything that makes that view look the way it does within itself. So I can just, if I pull that view in, it's going to automatically have all of its layout and everything else that it needs. Okay. Now let's fix this background color. So you sort of got to have a bit of a web mindset with some of the CSS stuff and that when you're doing this. So I'm going to take it off the VStack, right? And as soon as I do that, it won't look anywhere near as bad because you're not even going to notice the color is wrong. You're just going to notice that it's centered and you don't want it to be that way, right? For the view, sorry, you don't want that view to be that way, right? But that's probably because of this H stack here. Let me think about that for a second. Probably want to fix that there because the group view itself is fine. So if I put the background color there for the group view, there you go. Now the whole thing's got the, that's right. So that's better. right? Now we've just got to fix this centering issue for the content, which I think is going to be the H stack. But I don't think an H stack, this may have to be a, if I change this to a group, what happens? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Treats it like a V stack. Can I just set I'm not sure that's going to work. No. Oops. See, this is a perfect example where I was saying if I do this and I go back to the group view now, and if I just add a background color of some really horrible color, you'll now see what I was saying about how I use that to my advantage to check, you know, that, okay, it is filling the space. And as you can see, the list is filling the space, but I think it's probably because of those numbers. Let me get rid of these numbers. Now let's check this again. Right, now we're back to our original problem. Yeah, okay. So that's the frame. It's got the blue. But why is it in the middle? Ah, okay, hold on. Right. Now let me add the alignment of leading there. Not sure if I'm going to need these ones still. Let's leave them there for a second. Okay, cool. Oh, interesting. Look how that goes slightly out of the frame, right? Let's see if we still need these. I'm thinking maybe we do. Is if I take that out, is it going to go center again? Well, actually it didn't. It's just respecting the padding, which is fine. And that fixes that problem. Although it's got that funny little jump there, look, right? Don't know where that funny little jump is coming from, but I suspect it's probably got something to do with these numbers. And actually, as I'm looking at the group view here, see how these are different? And there's no reason they should be, because they're both headline. Well, I say that. No, that's not true because they're centered. That one still needs the alignment. Yeah. But it needs the alignment, and now it's also going to need some padding probably on the side. On the left side. But now when you do that, see, I wonder where that's going. Notice how the groups is padded in on the side further than you want it to be, right? Probably because of this. So I'm gonna, if I take this padding out, see how you have to play a lot with this Swift UI stuff to get what you're expecting. You know what, if I take the padding out of there, I wonder if this style, this title text has the padding. I don't know. You know, I got a feeling it's going to have something to do with that too. So let's put the alignment back there. Okay, and then we'll have the padding on the outside, but everything should line up still. Oh, no, wait. I put that one in the wrong place. Okay, there we go. The order in which you put those modifiers is crucial. Remember with Swift UI, it works from the bottom up, right? So what I mean by that is, first thing it's going to render is the background view, right? Next thing it's going to respect is the frame size. And then once it's got all of that, it's then going to apply the padding to it. It's not the other way around. It doesn't do it in the order that you read it. So it's not padding, then frame, then background. When Swift UI lays this out, it's the other way around. It's background, then frame, then padding, right? Make sense? Always got to remember that when you're working with Swift UI. The pains of Swift UI, Nicholas says. It's only a pain because arguably it's backwards to certainly all the other languages I've ever used that use this kind of modifier chained approach. So yeah, I understand what you say. Thing is, now I'm so used to thinking of it this way, it's a problem when I go back to other languages and do it the other way around. That's kind of what happens to me. Yeah, let's just take a quick look at this. What's going on? I was so cold in Texas this morning. I way overslept and now I'm getting sleepy again. Sorry. It was 22 degrees here this morning in the DFW area. That was a bit of a wake-up call. Thank goodness I didn't have to go out and drive to an office or anything. Oh my gosh. It was dry though, so no ice or snow, thankfully. But anyway, it just makes me sleepy. You just want to curl up with a hot drink and a decent movie or book. All right, so excuse me. That's our groups. I kind of like that blue background. I'm not going to keep it, but I do like it. There, that's interesting. Okay, let's get rid of that. I probably just messed it all up now, right? Okay. Our minimum width, I'm thinking actually should be more something, probably going to want something more like, remember on a Mac, right? So probably more like 250. And let's just say if you wanted to go crazy, you could go to 400. Oh, wow, look at that. So what's going on there? Let me think about this for a second. I think what's going on is maybe it is going to matter. Let me take this frame off of here because I think what's happening, I want to keep the leading alignment. Just make sure it's still happy. Yeah. But I think it's because it's keeping the size but taking it off screen as if you was going to scroll. So maybe, just maybe, I do have to apply it here so that the parent, right, we're not scrolling under the parent. Does that make sense? Well, no, it's still doing it, so it doesn't make sense anyway. What's up with that? Where is that coming from? Okay, well, so at least I get my first wish, which is to keep it in here. But if anyone, no prize, but if anyone can figure it out, why that scrolls off under there like that instead of just staying like that, sure love to know the answer. Notice how the blog post list one too. I wonder, you know what? I think I know what it is. Nah, this has got to be more than 250 pixels, right? Oh, wait, I've got a tool for this. Let me think. I have a screen measuring tool. I just can't remember the name, but I'm sure that whole window's got to be more than 250. But I'd love to know why that's going on. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I just need to. I don't really. I mean, not that you'd ever have the window this small, right? You know, you'd have a realistic minimum size of maybe something like that, right, on a Mac. You know, so there's probably won't even be a problem. But still curious as to what causes it. Just because I'm curious. uh, wow, that is too cold. Yeah, dude, it was cold. Trust me. I mean, I come from England. I'm used to the cold weather, but I'm also now used to the Texas weather. And when the day before I had air conditioning, right, 75, you know, following day, 22. I mean, oh, just this morning, my eyes were streaming. I was sneezing. I mean, you name it. Thank goodness for heating and air conditioning is all I'm saying. Uh, Sorry, just checking something here. Okay, sorry. All right, so yeah, we would set a minimum size. That one. Now, for that, you would want to do it on the content view, right? So I think it's here, right? So I would set a minimum width of say 1024 by 800. Don't need the alignment there though. Okay, so that probably, yeah, so that is the size right there, right? But it's not adjustable now, notice, right? Because it's a defined size. So what you really need is a minimum width and a minimum height. And I think now it still loads with that size, but notice how you can now adjust it, right? But I can't go smaller than that size. So this solves the problem on this for me here. And I can live with that, right? Again, this is a tool for me. I'm happy with that for now. But I also want to make sure as I'm doing this, I'm learning and understanding how SwiftUI is doing this so that if a requirement comes along from something that isn't for me, where I got to be specific on these things, I know how it's working. All right, let's go back to our group view. So that minimum width and maximum width now, though, is definitely bigger than it was. I think if I just set a minimum, let's have a look. minimum doesn't change. In fact, it doesn't change at all now, all right, because it's only got that value. Although it seems bigger than 200 to me, but no, maybe it's not. Maybe that is 200. Okay. I only want the blog post one to scale, but eventually I'm going to have to figure out, okay, if I want to adjust these independently, like you can, right, on some apps, definitely going to know how to do that so that I understand it. However, for now, that's fine. We just want to get this up and running and then we'll tweak. So let's now go to the post list view, right? Let's take a look at that one. So let's set the frame for this one. I think you would naturally want this one to be a little bit more, right? Because groups would probably have a shorter name if that's a group or a tag or whatever, but a post name could be quite long. And we will, when we render it out, we would have it wrap like we would when we were doing custom cells in a table view, right? But those are pretty good proportions right now. And then the rest can be however big I want it to be for the post itself, right? So, you know, that feels better. Okay, we're getting there. A lot better than what we had earlier. All right. I still think these fonts are too small. That's just on my screen here. I got a 27-inch screen with whatever it is, a couple of thousand pixels across display, and maybe just because I'm old, but the font seems kind of small. But I do want to be able to, you know, use the command key and the plus and the minus to set the font size, right? And you know, do all that. What is zoom? Oh yeah, of course. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna work with dynamic font sizing in here. Maybe even set that in the preferences panel, right, for each of the 3 views, something like that. Again, I'm always thinking of things that I've not necessarily done, or I've only done a couple of times. I want to test myself and force myself to do things that I maybe normally wouldn't, to expand my understanding of this stuff, because it always happens, right? I'm sure you've all been there. You're working on an app for someone, or, you know, day job, whatever. One day that requirement comes in for that thing that you've been trying to avoid to do for years, right? And now you got to face it. So it's better to face it and learn it ahead of time and then hopefully remember it. Or better still, blog post on it. Okay. Let's see, where are we at here? Okay, we're about an hour in on this. Let's do a little more work here. Let's see a little more spacing in between these, right? These are definitely too cramped. So, you know, again, on these, we're kind of laying these out in preparation for our magic, you know, loop of content when we have it. But I want to make sure that we've got everything in place, right? So these will always be the same. So you could say, for example, you know, we could put just some padding on the bottom here. Let's just go with the default amount, right? Which may well be too much on this, actually. May want to use line spacing on this. I mean, it's clear, but it's too much, right? But since we only have one line of content, we can't see how it looks on the wrap. And I know I've done this before. Hang on. Swift UI set padding height. I can't remember if you just put the number in or. Oh, okay. It's a comma and then 10. All right. Thank you, Daddy Coding. Love it. Okay, so bottom 10. Let's just have a look at it here in the preview. 10 may be a bit too much. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 is pretty good. Let's just replicate that for now. We'll also want the same on the post list. Okay, good. So we're getting there, right? Things are starting to take shape. It's not completely falling apart. Let's do this. Let's really just... Now, notice how I've set all of this up for the Mac, right? Because definitely on iOS, you're going to want something different. I feel like this could probably work on the iPad version, though. And yeah, isn't nothing on the watch. On the watch, it might give me a list of posts or something. But if I go to say an iOS and an iPad, I think it's still going to be blank right now because I don't think it's going to inherit any of what I've done here. Of course, I could be wrong, and it's not going to. Not like I'm going to do the catalyst thing in reverse. Give it a minute to spin up. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Where's my simulator? Is my simulator even running? Oh, no. No is the answer. Target enable code signing. Enable code. Okay. Why was it not turned on is the question. Sorry. Okay, yeah, I can immediately already see because that's coming in from the other one. So good. It's not going to use it on those. Okay, let's go back to the Mac. I'm toying with the idea. Again, that philosophy of using things that I haven't used or rarely use. I've never had to do any CloudKit because I'm used to APIs and REST APIs and pulling it in core data and stuff like that. Toying with the idea of having this content sync through CloudKit across the platforms. Well, you know, that's just seems like it might be fun, right? Or if it's just going to be a whole bunch of markdown files for each of the posts from the repo. No, what do you think? Git integration sound like fun, right? Oh, this is new. I haven't seen this one before. Message send failure for send preview instances message to agent. Okay. Whatever. Whatever floats your boat, Xcode. We don't know Xcode. You just do your own thing. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm getting really brain sleepy. So I think what we're going to do is we'll leave this one here today. Next Wednesday, of course, reminder for you all, you know, compileswift.live has always got the schedule on there. Next Wednesday is going to be the one we've been having a lot of fun with recently. And my own treachery, for example, has been very helpful in the last stream that we did on Sprite Kit with the sprite effects. Sorry, not sprite effects, particle emitters. And part of the discussion that came off of that is about setting up a repo so that we can all just dive into the code base. And I'm definitely, that's on my list of things to look at this week, hopefully before I get back to work, you know, and that so that you can contribute directly. at the moment, I'm leaning towards not opening it up for everybody, but opening it up for the folks that take part in the stream and in the chat room here as kind of a thank you for spending time with me and working on the problems and that. I don't want to just put it out of there for everybody. The reason being, as I've thought about it, is we could, between us all, right, in the chat room here and everything else, we could all put this work into it, be something to be proud of and have fun with, and then someone could just snatch that up and make a version and put it in the store and benefit from all of our hard work. Which, if it was an open source thing, I don't have a problem with. Unfortunately, I certainly know of instances where people have done that before. They've taken open source projects, we've all seen this, and charged for them and made money from it, which is not in the spirit of what we're talking about here with the community. So definitely want to hear people's thoughts on this, but I think it's kind of that value for value thing, right? Um, in return for you all hanging out in the chat and on the stream here and everything else, I want you to benefit from it, but I don't want just anybody to benefit from all of our effort on it, right? It's a project for all of us. We can take and do with, but we don't want to do all this hard work and all this fun and everything else and just have someone come along and take it from us and then turn it into a commercial app. Certainly welcome your thoughts on that. Let me know. Compile Swift on all the networks, right? CompileSwift.com and that. Just let me know. But that's what I'm thinking right now. But I do want to make it available to all of you because at this point, you've all put as much effort into it, maybe even more than I have. And I think it's the right thing to do for all of us. Closed source would be the way. Yeah. That's the idea. Closed source within our community here, right? So that what I'm thinking is I set up the repo. I'm sure you've probably all got GitHub accounts. I give you access to it. You are all free to do with it as you want, of course. But then that way we can't just have some random drive-by, surf by, grab our hard work, change one thing in it, throw it to the app store, start charging for it, and benefit from all of our hard work. I don't want to see that happen. I want us to benefit from our hard work. Okay. Please, like I say, share your thoughts on it. I know it's a very difficult, very delicate subject. I absolutely want all of you to have access to it, to contribute to it, and do with it whatever you want, just the same as I am. I just don't want all that effort given away free to just anyone who comes along. Just those who contribute to it. It's kind of a, contribute to get access kind of approach is what I'm thinking. I don't know what kind of licensing it is. I got to look at that too. That's why I've sort of held back until now. I'm not very familiar with all that licensing stuff. So if you understand it all, that's a discussion we can have on Wednesday. All right, that's it for today, folks. I'm going to leave this one here. And again, this will be another project that we work on together. Interesting part for me on this is going to be the reading in of the files, right? Because I've done the reverse where it throws them all out. I've not done it where I have an app read in files from a folder in this kind of context. So that's going to be interesting. All right, folks, that's it for today. I am definitely starting to flag here. Have fun. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully we'll all get together again in the middle of the week, Wednesday, do the Sprite Kit thing. We are making some fantastic progress on that. So much more to do, so much fun to have. And maybe we even get that repo set up on the Wednesday as well. That's it. Have a great one. Thank you so much to all of you for hanging out. I will see you in the next one.